Day one of NBA free agency is officially in the books, and there were a lot of moves made today. We're going to go through each and every one, and we're going to start with the team that I thought won the day. Houston Rockets were active before free agency, and they're very active today as well. First move of the day, Dorian Finney-Smith to Houston, leaving the Lakers for 4 years and $53 million. The Rockets were not done either. They go out and get Clint Capella, reuniting him in Houston, 3 years, $21 million. This graphic was before they signed Clint Capella. To me, Oklahoma City is still the best team in the West, but man, are the Rockets closing the gap. Raphael Stone has done an amazing job this summer, and now we wait and see. Is this the roster they're going to keep? Do they have additional moves on their radar? Maybe a Cam Whitmore trade. Remember, this team now has 3 starting center caliber players. The Lakers trade 3 second-round picks to get Dorian Finney-Smith, and then they lose him for nothing. What does this mean for Rob Pelinka and the Lakers? I'm going to wait and see what they do in day 2. They might be waiting for DeAndre Ayton to clear waivers. Their big move today was signing Jake LaRavia, 2 years, $12 million. Not a bad signing. Is he better than Dalton Connect? So far, I've been extremely unimpressed with the Lakers, and now with this being the case, if they don't make any more drastic moves, you have to keep your eyes on LeBron. You have to keep your eyes on a Luka extension. Speaking of those Lakers, one of their targets for the center position goes off the board. 2 years, $18 million. Brook Lopez heading to the other LA team, going to the Clippers. Lopez leaves Milwaukee a champion and a Bucks legend forever. A lot of people love this move for the Clippers, myself included, but here's the thing. Lopez and Ivica Zubac is going to be a heck of a rim protection duo at the big man position. But if the Clippers plan this offseason is to sign 37-year-old Brook Lopez and 39-year-old Chris Paul, I don't know. The Bucks lose a center, the Warriors lose a center too. Kevon Looney heading to New Orleans, reuniting with Jordan Poole, 2 years, $16 million. Will he be the Pelicans' starting center? What a difference a year can make for the Pelicans. Last year, Daniel Tice, rookie Yves Missi, and Jeremiah Robinson Earl, their starting centers. Now they go into this season with Looney, who's been Mr. Durable, along with Yves Missi and Derek Queen, the rookie. Talked about the Houston Rockets being a huge winner, but everybody else also talking about the Atlanta Hawks, and rightfully so. First, they go get Kristaps Porzingis via trade, then they fleece the Pelicans and get their unprotected pick in 2026 in a draft day heist, and then they go sign Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who in this free agent class was one of the most coveted players on the market. 4 years, $62 million for Nah, which comes out to nearly $15 million a year. But for a team that's always been concerned about Trae Young's perimeter defense, to surround him with defenders like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, Zachary Reshape, Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, Kristaps Porzingis. By the way, Atlanta also signed Luke Kennard today, 1 year, $11 million. If you don't know who this man is yet, you will soon. Onsi Sala. He's been the Atlanta Hawks GM for 1 month, and in that 1 month, he's made the Hawks the talk of the NBA. The Hawks are going to be the trendy, flashy pick to maybe even win the East next year, and it's not that outrageous to say that. In a wide open East, I give him so much credit for going for it. We talked about Houston and Atlanta being winners, but I love what Memphis did. They re-signed a bunch of their own guys, starting with Jaren Jackson Jr., 5 years, $240 million, the face of the franchise. Cam Spencer back on a team-friendly 2 year, $4.5 million deal. Thought they might lose Santi Aldama, but they keep him as well, 3 years, $52.5 million. Then they made the deal, which I think is the best value deal of the entire free agency period. I don't care what happens from here on out. I love this move from them. They go and get Ty Jerome for 3 years, $28 million. Jerome was almost a 6th man of the year last year. He almost had a 50-40-90 season. He was a pivotal part of Cleveland's success, and all because he had a few bad playoff games. People don't realize how good he is. Did you know that if you take big men out of the equation, Ty Jerome led the league in floater field goal percentage last year? When we talk about Memphis's offseason, don't forget they got the guy they wanted in the draft in Cedric Howard, and they got 4 picks for Desmond Bane. What a home run of a summer. This roster from top to bottom might be the deepest in the NBA. So many moves today, we didn't even talk about the trade that caught us by surprise. MPJ going from Denver to Brooklyn with a 2032 unprotected first for Cam Johnson. The Nuggets are going for it. This is going to be a sight to see in Brooklyn. I know the Nets aren't expected to be good, but Cam Thomas and MPJ is going to be hilarious. And then literally moments after the Nuggets make that trade, they get Bruce Brown on what we're hearing is a vet minimum contract. What a job by Denver's front office. Staying in the West, the champs haven't done anything yet besides bringing back their own guys on long-term deals, guys like Jay Will and AJ Mitchell, but they did announce that J-Dub had off-season surgery to repair a torn ligament in his wrist. Everybody's going to be aiming for the Thunder, including the Dallas Mavericks, who bring in D'Lo, 2 years, $12 million. He might start for them until Kyrie gets healthy, but he's probably going to be running their second unit. For me personally, I would have rather seen Brandon Williams get a chance to run their second unit in Dallas. Man, you look at the Mavericks depth chart and you see the vision. I'm not saying Nico Harrison made the right choice, but this is a damn good team. Staying in the Western Conference, one of the surprises of the day, Luke Cornett heading to San Antonio, 4 years, $41 million. Almost definitely going to be the backup to Wemby, but when I first saw this deal, I really thought it was an indication that the Spurs are going to use Wembanyama at the power forward more and more. Those double big lineups, they caught the wave with the Rockets, with Steven Adams and Şengün, and a lot of teams are going to follow suit. So the Celtics lose Cornett, they already lost Porzingis, they might lose Horford, and today they signed Luka Garza, 2 years, $5.5 million. They really don't have any starting caliber quality centers unless you include Garza, Xavier Tillman, Neemias Queta. Been saying it all off season. The second apron is unforgiving. Last year, a championship caliber roster. This year, as it stands right now, they're looking at George Niang and Xavier Tillman at their starting power forward and center. Staying in the East, Malik Beasley under federal investigation, so the Pistons pivot towards Karis LeVert, 2 years, $29 million. A little bit too rich for my liking. Still have time left in the offseason, but this is how I feel. What Sean Corp said. You can't lose Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Dennis Schroeder and replace them with Karis LeVert. There's still time left for the Pistons, and according to Jake Fisher, they're interested in a sign and trade of Dennis Schroeder for Malik Monk. So hold on. Malik Monk in Detroit would be really nice. Speaking of Schroeder, apparently he's headed to Sacramento as Sacramento continues to chase what? Mediocrity? Everybody's been anxiously awaiting the Giannis trade news, but the Bucks are trying to keep the band together. Yesterday, they re-signed Bobby Portis. Today, they bring back KPJ, 2 years, $11 million. They did lose Brook Lopez, as we mentioned. They also keep Gary Trent Jr., 2 years, $7.5 million. I love this value for the Bucks. Also keep Taurean Prince, 2 years, $7 million. This all looks like a team that is trying to appease Giannis and trying to still compete in the East without Dame. Utah traded Colin Sexton yesterday. They waived Jordan Clarkson today, and he ends up in New York with the Knicks. Knicks still don't have a coach. Apparently, they're bringing Mike Brown in for a second round of interviews, but they add Clarkson to that bench. This is as win-win as it gets, by the way, for me. Clarkson gets an opportunity to compete and contend. Meanwhile, the young Jazz players like Keontae George, Isaiah Collier, and Walter Clayton Jr. get a chance for minutes. We haven't heard anything yet from the Eastern Conference champs. Miles Turner still a free agent, but we have heard to keep our eyes on Benedict Mathurin. It could be a similar situation to the Celtics where they look to shed salary. Staying in the East, the Bulls still have to re-sign Josh Giddey, but they do re-sign their backup point guard Trey Jones, 3 years, $24 million. Meanwhile, his brother Tyus leaving Phoenix to go to Orlando where they need some more guard help, 1 year, $7 million. Some more moves on the margins. The Sixers still have to figure out a new contract for Quentin Grimes. I really like this value deal, though, that they gave Trendon Watford. 2 years, $5.3 million. Watford is a good player. Trendon Watford leaves the Nets, but earlier today, the Nets retained Zaire Williams, 2 years, $12 million, and Day'Ron Sharpe, 2 years, $12 million. Wrapping up the Eastern Conference, Charlotte not extending a qualifying offer to Trey Mann, so he's an unrestricted free agent. And remember how good he was the first month of the season. If he stays healthy, he can really help a contender. Charlotte also signed Mason Plumlee, 1 year, $3.6 million. Remember, Charlotte just traded Mark Williams. They don't have Nick Richards. This might be their starting center next year. One other team I forgot to mention, the Suns dropping Cody Martin and retaining Colin Gillespie. We didn't mention the Warriors. They're being linked to Al Horford. That deal could be announced tonight or tomorrow. A lot of these restricted free agents this year, guys like Jonathan Kuminga, guys like Josh Giddey, guys like Cam Thomas. Because no team has cap space, their teams that have their current contracts can wait and try to bargain with them for a lower contract number. If you're a fan of a team like the Miami Heat who might want Jonathan Kuminga, might have to be patient this summer. I don't want to call anybody a loser just yet because we still have a few more days of action. Who are your biggest winners so far of the offseason in general? I know everybody's saying Atlanta and Denver and Houston, and I agree with all those, but I really like what the Grizzlies have done. Give me a hot take that would have you looking like Brian Windhorst in this pick. Let the Wizards cook. Today, the Washington Wizards traded 2 second-round picks for Cam Whitmore. For a franchise that's been stuck in mud for a long time, the Washington Wizards have built a very intriguing, interesting, and exciting young core. It shouldn't be that surprising that the Rockets could not find playing time and opportunity for Whitmore, but he is still only 20 years old, and now he gets to go back to the DMV area where he's originally from. The numbers speak for themselves too. When he gets an opportunity, he has shown that he can play at this level. We talked about that young Wizards core. It is going to be so interesting to see how they navigate the minutes of all these young wings and guards. Cam Whitmore joining Bilal Coulibaly, who is also in his draft class. They have Trey Johnson and Will Riley from this draft class that are going to need opportunity to shine. Then, of course, they have Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George, and a guy that's not even mentioned on this list by 3Cone, AJ Johnson, who they traded for. These are the exact types of moves that a team in the Wizards situation should be making, though. They buy low on Cam Whitmore. A week ago, they bought low on Dylan Jones, who again was not going to be getting opportunity in Oklahoma City. Still don't think I personally agree with the Jordan Poole trade or the Denny Avdia trade, but times are changing in Washington, D.C. For the Rockets, even with Cam Whitmore's departure, obviously still such a loaded depth chart. The guy that I'm going to be watching so closely this season is Reed Sheppard. They're really going to need him to be a real rotational piece, if not more than that. And laugh all you want, this is going to be one of the teams that I'm going to be most intently watching on League Pass next season. The Wizards could be really fun. While every other team in the league is making moves left and right, the Golden State Warriors have sat there this summer and done absolutely nothing so far. Now later today this could change, and we knew going into this summer that Golden State did not have many resources to improve, but to have done nothing so far, and the only free agent they've been linked to has been Al Horford, is really embarrassing for this front office. Now, I understand you could say that their free agency move was made in February when they traded for Jimmy Butler. And for me, he still has time to redeem himself. But right now, going from Bob Myers to Mike Dunleavy Jr. looks like a massive downgrade for this organization. And it sucks because it's the twilight of Steph Curry's career. Now again, a lot of their hesitation is because they're waiting on Jonathan Kuminga's restricted free agency. We know this. What would you have thought of their summer if they retained Kuminga, let's say 3 years, $23 million a year, and everything else remains the same? Would you have considered that a successful offseason? Besides Al Horford, they've also been linked to Damian Lillard, which I forgot to mention. Imagine this being the Warriors starting lineup in April. What the heck is Mike Dunleavy Jr. thinking? It's weird because individually I like all these guys. Curry's still really good. Butler still is really good. Draymond is still really good at what he does. Al Horford has still shown that he has found the fountain of youth. It's just really strange to think that with Steph Curry playing at such a high level still, this is the best that they could think of. This is the best that you could do. Again, maybe I'm going to be speaking too soon. Maybe they have another move up their sleeve. Maybe a trade for a Giannis, a home run, a grand slam. Maybe even a trade for a LeBron. Right now, if you're telling me that your offseason plan was to sign Al Horford, maybe sign Damian Lillard coming off a torn Achilles, and maybe going after Bradley Beal, that is not gonna cut it. By the way, if they don't get Al Horford and they just bring back Kuminga, this is their depth chart. Remember, they also lost Kevon Looney. I would put Draymond at the 4. So basically, you have Quentin Post and Trace Jackson Davis as your center rotation. I don't want to sound blasphemous, but where do you think this team lands in the West next season? With their age and injury concerns that come with their age, they're probably a play-in team again, right? Maybe Mike Dunleavy's got something cooking that we don't see just yet. I'll give him some more time, but right now it is concerning. There's a new big 3 in Los Angeles. We've been waiting and waiting for Rob Pelinka to find the Lakers starting center, and today they got their guy. Obviously, I'm joking when I call this a big 3. But in reality, for the Lakers to not have to give up any assets to sign a guy like DeAndre Ayton is a win move. This is a low-risk, potentially high-reward move. Ayton's already making $25 million from the Blazers, and the Lakers are only giving him a one-year commitment worth $8 million. We still have one important piece of information we don't know anything about yet. Is this enough to keep LeBron James happy? Today, Bronny said this to the media. He said LeBron doesn't discuss his future with the Lakers and just tells him to ignore the rumors and not worry about it. Now, of course, Ayton comes with other concerns. This was posted by The Athletic just a few days ago. Part of the reason why the Blazers bought him out: showing up late to team flights and practices, skipping rehab sessions, slamming chairs when being subbed out of games, throwing tantrums. But now he's going to be playing for a new salary with a larger microscope than ever before in his professional career, and I think he's going to play well for them. But personally speaking, I don't think this is going to be enough to keep LeBron happy. Now, we heard yesterday that the Lakers have discussed trades for Nick Richards, Rob Williams, and Yves Missi. Could they still be in the market for another center to go along with Ayton? Because as it currently stands, their backup centers are looking like Christian Koloko and Trey Jemison. So Ayton alone is not going to be enough. And also, what does this mean for Al Horford? He was linked to the Warriors or the Lakers or retirement earlier today. And the other big domino that's going to come out of this move: where does Indiana go now? They lose Miles Turner. They lose the Ayton sweepstakes if they were even involved in it to begin with. Are the Pacers going to bring back Thomas Bryant to be their starting center this upcoming season? Also, I know they weren't interested in Ayton, at least formally, but what are the Boston Celtics going to do at starting center next season? Did the Lakers improve today? Yes. Did the Lakers improve enough in the offseason so far to contend with the likes of Oklahoma City, Denver, and Houston? In my humble opinion, no. If this is the Lakers roster heading into the upcoming season, what seed do you predict them to finish with?